So as I'm walking you through this hint, I want to make sure that I emphasize the fact that there's more than one correct way to solve this equation. I'm just giving you the way that I personally would do it. But if there's another way that makes a better sense to you, then by all means, please do it as long as you end up with the correct answer. Now you're going to notice that I've got variables on both sides of my equal sign. I've got one over on the left side, and I have one over on the right side. In order to be able to solve an equation, of course, you've got to end up with just one variable isolated on one side of the equal sign or one side of the balance beam, however you want to think about it. So I personally would start off by getting rid of one of those guys. And this, again, is just me, but when I was in middle school, I used to make a lot of mistakes. I had a tendency to make a lot more mistakes when negatives were involved. So if I'm going to start off by canceling something, I'm going to start off by getting rid of that minus 4x right there. So I'm going to get rid of that minus 4x. I know it's a minus 4x because there's a negative right in front of it. I got to think about what's the inverse or the opposite of a minus 4x. And of course, that would be a plus 4x. So I'm going to go on my model. And you know I have the little x's, the positive x's over here to the side. And I'm going to drag 4 of those positive x's over here to the right side of my balance beam. So I dragged 4 right over there to the right side. Just because I kind of ran out of room, but just assume that they're sitting there on the balance beam along with the negatives. And again, the reason I brought 4 positive x's over there is because once these positive and negative x's get together, they're going to cancel each other out. So by dragging those 4 positive x's over to the right-hand side, I've basically gotten rid of the negative x's. I've canceled them out. On paper, what that would look like, of course, is, since we don't have a balance beam for everything, it would look something like this. So plus 4x. Of course, I have a little bit of a problem here. Okay, those are canceled out, basically. But this is an equation, which means whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Over here on my model right now, I haven't done anything to the left side. I added 4 x's to the right side, but I also need to add 4 x's to the right side. So I am going to drag 4 x's to the left. 2, 3, and oops, I'm one short, so I'm going to copy that one. Okay, so now as you can see, I originally added 4 x's to the right side of my equal sign or my balance beam, and now I've also added 4 x's over to the left side of my balance beam. What that would look like on paper, of course, I had an x here. Now I'm going to add 4 x's. So 4x plus x means that I'm now going to have 5 x's. And I can tell that makes perfect sense because obviously I had my original x here. Now I have 4 more, so 4x plus x gives me 5x over on the left-hand side of my equal sign. I also can't forget that that plus 2 is still hanging out there on that side too. So I need to bring down that 2. I'm going to bring down my 17 from the right side of my balance beam. See right here. And of course, that negative and positive 4 is now canceled out. The negative 4 and the positive 4 cancel each other out. So I'm only left with a 17 over on the right side.